reflections, stretches, and translations. Remember, that's the order that we do things in. But now, instead of taking an entire picture, we're literally just taking a point at a time and then moving those around. Okay? So let's focus on, we'll do A. Let's do C. Let's do I. And yeah, we should probably do F. Okay, so those are the 4 that we'll do. And if these make sense, we're not going to do all the other ones because they're similar. Okay? So let's start with, before we even answer the questions, let's just write down what's happening. Okay? What does minus 3 in the function do to the picture? Move it which way? Right 3. It's always opposite on the inside. Okay? What does the negative on the inside do? Reflect over y. That is correct. Let's talk about F real quick. So, if you wanted to, there's actually 3 things going on, but we're going to combine 2 into 1. There's a negative in front, which means that there's a reflection over x. There's also a 3, which means that there's a stretch. And then there's a minus 2, which means we're shifting down 2. Okay? My advice is going to be, whenever there's a negative and a number, skip the reflection part, okay, and just do the stretching rules that we talked about yesterday. So if we're multiplying by negative 3 on the outside, the y-coordinate now is going to get multiplied by negative 3. Does that make sense? Like if this were just a positive 3, it would triple the y's, right? Well, if there's a negative attached to it, that's okay. Just put the negative in there, and then the reflection will take care of itself. You don't have to worry about writing that out separately, okay? And then now, what's this minus 2 at the end do? Down 2, okay? You sure are. Last one. Well, the rules, and then we'll go through the points. This one, I wanted to do this one because this one's always tricky. Whenever there's a number in the parentheses or a negative in the parentheses here, we always factor it out so that we don't mess up the direction. So if I take the negative away from both of these, now it turns into positive x and then positive 3. Plus 4. Yeah, plus 4 is still there. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. And so now, let's run through the rules. First, we do reflections, which we have reflection over what axis? Over y. Yeah, on the inside, it's over y. Now, we have, what does this do? Left 3, and then this one goes up 4. Okay, that's the hard part, is getting all these rules correct, like where things are going to move. Now it's just a matter of, let's go back to the beginning. Can you take this point and find the new coordinates if it got shifted to the right 3 units? What would the new coordinates be? I heard a negative 1 for y. What was x? 7 is correct. We just shift right.
All right. Sorry. Stupid.
Think of it like, and if it helps you guys, there's nothing wrong with drawing a picture. I made like 3 mistakes in the other class because I wasn't drawing pictures, okay? If you draw a picture and you actually write, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1, and then you say, okay, I'm moving right 3, okay, 1, 2, 3. Now you can see what the coordinates are going to be, and it's a little easier. Does that make sense? Okay? What's going to happen to this coordinate? What are the new x and y values? 5, 6. Yeah, the y's aren't going to change. It's just shifting right. Make sense? Okay. Why don't you guys try? We'll see how this goes. And yes, you might make some mistakes, and that's okay. That's valuable information. Just try to find the new coordinates. And by the way, these that have multiple steps, they're asking you to break it down. Like, after you do this, what's the new values? And then take those and then move those down too. Does that make sense?
I was in the bathroom and explained F. What did you like with y-axis?
Y times 3. Maybe I should do it like this. Y times -3. Mm-hmm. Did you talk to your counselor already?
Yeah, but he's like in between schools right now, so he hasn't been here all week. That's why I was down there right now.
So you have to wait until.
Tuesday. Yeah.
You guys can ask each other. That's fine. You guys can talk. And check with neighbors. There's nothing wrong with that. Andrew and Amira, if you want to yell across the room, it's fine too.
Come over here. Oh, yeah.
Everything just goes like that.
Can she come over here?
I am a genius.
Check, sure.
Yeah.
No, come here. He said yeah. There.
To go check your answers, sure.
Yeah, but you can't sit here. You said no. Oh. You said no?
I'll FaceTime you. I'll FaceTime you.
Yeah, we'll FaceTime
In class, that would be hilarious. All right, let's see how we did. Here are the answers. -4, -1, -2, 6. Did we get that?
Yes.
Okay, if you didn't, look at the picture.
So we're basically just messing with the x, not the y.
Right, because look, if this point, just this point gets flipped across y, now it's over here. See what I'm saying? So x changes to -4, but it's still at the same y value. Okay? All right, let's look at f. This one says to take the y coordinate and multiply it by -3. So the first step should give you 4 +3, and then 2 -18. Did we get that first part? Okay. And now we're shifting down 2. So if you need to visualize, or even if this is not the same point, when you go down 2, do you guys see what coordinates are going to change? The y's, right? So we're just going to subtract 2 to get 4, 1, and then 2, -20. How'd we do? Okay. Fantastic. Let's go to the last one. Reflect over y. It's kind of like this one. If you remember what's going to happen, you can just copy the points down. It's going to be -4, -1, and then -2, 6. That's the same maneuver that we did in the second problem. Now we're going to shift left 3. So what coordinate changes? X. And since we're going left, just decrease or subtract 3. So answers -7, -1, and -5, 6 for that second step. The last step is to shift these 2 points up 4 units. And so now we should end up at -7, 3, and -5, 10. Does that make sense? Okay. So if you're okay with this, these are just different examples but similar. Okay? So I'm not going to spend all this time doing this. Let's go on to the next part. We want to focus now on example 2 and example 3, and then we'll be done with notes. Okay? So the x-intercepts for some function or some graph are -6 and 2. So we have -6, 0 is one of the x-intercepts, and 2, 0 is the other one. Right? Well, automatically the y is 0, so it helps to write the points out. Okay? What does this do to every point? Right 3. So if we're moving right 3, what is the new x-intercept instead of this one? -3. 0 is still going to be 0. And what about this 2? That becomes 5. Do you not have page 21?
No.
Oh. Let's see if I have a spare.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay. What does this one do? Left 7. So what are the new x-intercepts? Negative.
No, I'm just 13.
And then this one. If we're moving left 7, imagine subtracting 7, right? 2 minus 7 is -5, 0. I know we're doing this without the picture. If it helps, put the point on a graph and just count, and you'll make sure that you get it right. All right, so we've done right, we've done left. What does this do? Reflect over what axis? Y. So that's the first thing we'll do. Second thing we'll do, this 3 on the outside, it multiplies the y by 3. Very good. So y times 3. So let's do that. If I reflect over y, again, if it helps, here's negative 6, 0. If I reflect over y, where's it going to go? 6, 0. Where's this one going to go? Negative 2, 0. So that's after step 1. Now it says take the y values and triple them. Well, what are the new y values? It's still going to be 0 because 0 times 3 isn't going to change that, right? Okay, last one here. The 3 on the inside is divide what by 3? X. Very good. So divide, now let me rewrite it. X divided by 3, and that's it. So this negative 6 gets divided by 3. You get negative 2. Y stays the same. And then this 2 gets divided by 3, so that'll just be 2/3. And then the 0 is still 0. Make sense? Okay. Last example. Wow, we really did power through this. That's good. You guys will have time to do some work and get help if you need it. They tell you that we have a function g of x that's decreasing. In other words, it's going down from this interval, from 3 to 7. So first, let's make sure this is clear. These are both x values. When we do interval notation, those are x's, right? So don't think that this is a point, 3 comma 7. It's telling you that from 3, 4, 5, 6, from 3 to 7, so in this window, from 3 to 7, we have a graph that is decreasing. And you know what? It really doesn't matter what it looks like. So you can just draw a straight line, you can draw a curve, but just draw something that's going down so that it helps you answer the questions. Okay? Does everybody see how I got this picture? From 3 to 7, graph is decreasing. And now we should be able to answer this without too many issues. What does the +1 on the inside do? It moves this whole picture left, how many? 1. So instead of, now it's asking me, what's the new interval where it's decreasing? Well, instead of 3 to 7, now it's 2 to 6. Does that make sense? Okay. Here, I covered, is that a minus?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the -8 do? We're going right 3, and I heard someone say we're adding 8. I said 3, I meant 8. So this 3 and this 7 are all going to shift to the right 8 units. What's the new interval? 11 to 15 is now where it's going to look like this. Okay? All right, I'm going to do C in, and you know what, I'll do that in blue. And then I'll do D in green. Okay. What does the minus on the outside do? Over the x-axis. So take this picture. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? Flip it over. So this point's going to go down here somewhere. That point's going to go right about there somewhere. And now it maybe looks something like that. Okay? So is it clear that it's one of these two? Which one is it? Yeah, it's increasing. If it's decreasing here, when you flip it over, now it's going up. It's on the negative part of the y's, but that's okay. The picture's still going upward there. Okay? And now if I do the other direction, this is a reflection over y instead of x. This point is now going to go across the y-axis. So is this one, so somewhere over there. And now we have something that might look like that. And it's increasing. Is that clear? Okay. Record time.